All right, well, I just got the workbench all welded up, and as you can see, it is upside down, and you can see the receivers all in it. And I slapped some paint on the bottom surfaces, which will be harder to get later. So I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna flip him over and weld it into place. And then, man, we're closing in on it here. Things are happening, so stay tuned. All right, now let's just take a quick update here. I get the workbench flipped back over into position, and I'm gonna weld it down here in a minute, but I thought I'd go ahead and shoot a little video. Now you can see what I've done here is I've lined up these receivers in the middle on each end to be over themselves. I mean, they're in line vertically, so just in case I want to attach something at 2 points, make a fixture to hold it, I can do that. And then on the side, these are not exactly in line just because when I was building it, I put this one way down here on the corner, and then I'd almost have to add one more up underneath here to have this in line. But I put these two together, or closer together, because I'm going to build a thing to slide in there to hold the chop saw, to keep the chop saw deck level with the workbench top. But the workbench is a good size. You can see it's 80 wide by 33 deep, and it's about 36 inches tall off the ground. And got a little cleanup to do there and all my holes, but it's all put together. Now, one little nice thing, let me bring you up. Remember, I had mentioned in an earlier video, I was hoping I'd be able to store the A-frame underneath. Now you'll see I had to chop out a piece of the frame right back there, and I did a kind of an awful job of it because I was just using a cutting wheel, but I'll clean that up. But the nice thing is, when you put it in, it slides right up over the axle, goes into that slot, and then it kind of balances out very nicely to just easily insert here into I've just barely got it in there, and I don't intend to stick it in further than just a little. But the great news is it's a built-in storage space for when it's in table mode, which, you know, as I've said, is going to be most of its life. So that worked out very nicely, so I don't have to have it stacked up around here somewhere else. So anyway, there you are. I'm going to now take the diamond plate, which is laying here, put it back on, notch it out where it goes around the workbench legs, and then I think I'm just about ready to tack it down. I do have to, the Bobcat, where it goes here, I am going to have to do a little measuring and figure out where the mounting holes are, and probably put some little 1-inch angle or something to give me some spots to mount that. So outside of that, I don't think I'm going to want it just being held on to some 14 gauge diamond plate. I don't think that's going to work. Anyway, there you go. It's coming along, and we're getting closer. Oh, one more item, bonus. I just stuck this vise to get it out of the way from the gantry crane. I stuck it in there so you can see how this is going to work. So there you go. All right, as I just said, I wanted to put some angle down here in the frame to hold the mounting holes for the Bobcat. So you can see right there, that lines up with this piece of angle I just put under there, and then here's the back mount and its angle. So now I've got a pretty stout, good mounting point for, and it spans this whole gap in the frame. There it is sticking out over there, and I haven't drilled it because my plan is, once I get more complete, then I will spudge this Bobcat forward and back to get the right amount of tongue weight when I've got everything on here and quite a bit of the tools and so forth, so we know what the weight's going to pretty much be. At that point, I'll mark and drill the actual final mounting holes for that bobcat to get a good weight distribution. Alrighty, now what I've done is I went ahead and put it into trailer mode. So you can see the A-frame is pinned in, and it's on a jack, and the casters are removed. It's sitting on the axle and tires. And I thought before I started constructing the wheel wells that I better do this and make sure this thing didn't sit down, make the tires pooch up higher than I had anticipated. And a couple of things to note: it was there was about 5 inches of clearance before when it was on the casters, and now it's up to 7 inches. Not clearance, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so I've got to take that into consideration, and the deflection of these Timbren absorbers, and also the workbench set down. It was about 36 on the casters, and it's down to a little over 32. So it does sit quite a bit lower on the in the trailer mode. It's kind of interesting. And again, I'm just mocking up, trying different configurations of these toolboxes, and trying to figure out what's the best way to put all this equipment. I will tell you that bobcat's just sitting there fairly centered over the axle. It might be just a skosh back, but the tongue weight is really, well, this whole thing's pretty stout, but the tongue weight is pretty heavy. I can lift it with one hand, but it's no small task. I think I'll be fine just mounting it right there, pretty much center line. But again, I'm not going to final mount it till I make sure. So anyway, but it will trailer. So back to caster mode for the rest of the build. Oh, and by the way, it did take my gantry crane to make the conversion, because I have to lift it up to get the casters out, but that conversion will really only happen inside of this barn, so that's not really a problem as I see it. Anyway, and then you can see where the caster legs are. I'll have that much clearance out there. In fact, let's get your number on that. So the clearance is about 9 inches. So that's about what it is on the frame there anyway. So there you have it. Okay, stay tuned.